Hello. uh, hey, what's up, everybody? Got some people here already. That's cool. Yeah, it wouldn't be a stream if all the tech worked. So like, yeah, I turn on everything. I have everything set up, good to go. Hit start streaming. Guess what happens? OBS will not stream without NVIDIA something something something. I'm like, oh, you require the NVIDIA update. Thank you for telling me this. Before I tried to start streaming. Thankfully, I updated and reboot and everything worked the second time. The idea that all the tech will work after it worked the first time, the idea that it will work again, no. Very suspect. Anyway, how's everyone doing? I'm doing okay. Yeah, it looks like I'm running, so this is cool. It's interesting. I had finished up rewriting a paper that had been, I basically wrote it last year, like over a year ago. And I hadn't changed it since then. So in the last year, one of the things that happens is I don't change how I go about stuff very often. It takes a lot of time. Like I get an idea about how I'm going to do things. I do it that way. And then, it takes like years before I think, oh, I have a better way of doing stuff now. So like this paper was written under the old regime, and then the new regime has like taken shape in the last like 6 to 8 months. So this was old work. I had to like update it. And one of the things is like whenever I'm writing, it's like it's kind of intense. I get like all worked up in it and stuff. And I would crash. I would like physically and mentally crash after finishing up a paper. And thankfully, under this new regime, the crash wasn't anywhere near as bad. I was expecting, you get worried because this is like one of those things. You can tell people that something is bad. You can know it yourself that it's bad. That does not mean that you will like the experience is telling someone and the experience is not the same thing. And this is interesting. On Friday, they had the get the link actually. Oh, interesting. Oh, hey, no wonder. I'm in Anne's chat, not my own chat. I'm like, why is this not showing up? Okay. And I see Aris, I didn't see your chat for a minute there because I had the wrong chat. It loaded Anne's up from last week. Yeah, no, there's no rush on any of that stuff. If anything, Noose will open up their submissions again for the first time in like, however many months. And I don't know if that's a good place to send it, but like you can't send them stuff. They only have like a small window to send it, and they're opening up on what's it called? The 15th. So on the 15th you can send stuff into Noose. I don't know if I like that paper is good enough to get there, but like who the hell knows? But like the fact that I don't have anything else to send them right now, so fuck it, might as well send them this. So yeah, I expect that like this is a busy time of year. But what was I saying? Oh yeah. On what was I doing? Yeah, so what's it called? The Ask a Philosopher was running on Friday. I was hanging out with those folks a little bit on Friday. Oh, you're down? You crashed this time. Cinesemiotics. Okay. And of course the bot's down now. Everything's breaking today. Everything's breaking. Yep. You know what? You subscribed at the exact wrong time. You literally just explained what trauma survivors go through. A lot there are things that words can't really capture the horrors of. Yes, but I mean this is less. I was going way less significant than that. Let's see. Do you want that TTS? We can TTS that shit up. Let's TTS that up. Go. Pretend like this was a Oh, I hit the wrong button. Sorry. And there's no TTS on I just hit the wrong button.
You literally just explained what trauma survivors go through a lot.
It did work.
There are things that words can't really capture the horrors of.
Yeah, that's fair. It is a similar phenomenon. It's like you got all this worked up, and then it you crash. Phenomenon. And that's fair. And so there's this old thing in philosophy of mind where it's called the Mary's room. She's a scientist and learns everything there is to know about color, but she's in a very her exact entire room, her entire life is all in like black and white. It's all like painted. She's painted. She's only wearing black and white clothes. Everything she sees is only in black, white, and gray. So when she goes outside, does she know more than does she learn anything is the question. And the idea is that if you could learn all there is to know about science, the colors in science, would you learn anything by actually experiencing them? I mean, I think so. I actually think so, is because there's more to be learned. And so the experience of doing stuff actually, our experience is richer than our science. And so this is one of those things, like you have way, I can't tell people what the experience was. It's just kind of hard, but there's more to the experience, and there's like, it's a richer sort of thing. And then a trolley runs her over. It'd be so sad. Yeah, so it's like, what do you actually, like, what do we think we're doing in science in some sense? Do we actually think we're capturing everything? And I think this is the conceit with the Mary problem, that we actually can, in science, tell everyone everything there is to know about color. No, color research is ongoing. There is no telling everyone what there is to know about color. We don't know what that is. Just as like I can like tell you, and you may have experienced different things in your life that are similar, but there's a limit to what I can like explain and even remember, and it's like it's always different every time. And so it's like, you know, the person you are then is not the person you are now, and it's like things experienced differently. Yeah. A lot of those thought experiments rest on a completed science, and that's just such a ridiculously big assumption. I completely agree with that. Like, I hate when people say completed science. It is a terrible thing to say. It makes no fucking sense. And I don't think anyone who uses that has any goddamn clue about, like, what they're actually claiming. It's like, oh yeah, science is just done. This is like, you know what it actually reminds me of? There's like, especially in like Middle Ages, there's this sort of sense that the rapture is coming. Everyone always thinks that they're at the end of the world. This is like apocalyptic thought almost. Like if you were like at the end of the world and then you had to make a choice, what would it be? It's like, yeah, that would be a weird fucking situation, and no one fucking knows what like would happen at the end of the world. But it's like that's what they're kind of asking. Yeah. So, thank you, Aristotle. It's just like these things, like, and you know I don't like this from other stuff, but like it's just like I find it completely like it's apocalyptic thought is how I treat it. So it's like the idea that like we are capturing everything. It's like this is why we have poetry. This is why we have literature. It is not easy to capture the human experience. We get some of it in science, and we do more of it over time. Who knows what a fundamentally completed science would look like? We have no idea. This is like saying, what would Jesus do, actually? You know, this is a great story. G.E. Moore, who was a great philosopher in like the early part of like last century. So like he was one of the guys that signed off on Wittgenstein's PhD. Like he's one of these great guys. You agree with me, but it is possible in practice their matters considered settled. Yes, but I think that's a different problem, Cinesemiacs. I think that's exactly right, but the idea that there's like a fundamentally completed science overall, that we have the whole thing figured out, no. In any given subdiscipline, yes, but like overall, no. And the story goes that a theologian was talking to G.E. Moore, who was a great philosopher, and said to G.E. Moore, it's easy to be a Christian. All you got to do is you ask, what would Jesus do? And G.E. Moore said, this is actually, you know, I could do that. I could say, what would Jesus do? You know, if like that's what it's to be Christian, I could feel Christian, be like, all right, what would Jesus do in these situations? And after exactly 1 year, G.E. Moore realized he has no fucking clue what Jesus would do, and he just was doing whatever he thought he should do. And it's like, you don't need to ask, what would Jesus do? You only ask, what would you do? And you have no idea what Jesus would do. It's like this sort of like thinking that you actually have access to like the ultimate end of things. Not happening. Cinesemiacs says, and even though it's settled by the community standards, but it needs to be revisited. Yeah, this is the thing. Like, you can have things that are socially settled in, like, your community. You can have things that are, like settled in terms of, like, physics, like hydrogen and oxygen combined to make water. There's no problem with that. But we don't actually... These are, like... but do we actually know what hydrogen and oxygen are in terms of like quantum mechanics, or like some fundamental things more fundamental than like hydrogen and oxygen? We know a few steps down. Do we know all the way down? No, we don't have the like fundamentally figured out science. So it's like, yeah, at any given point there'll be like a limit to like what we are very confident about, like our knowledge. And then there's like beyond that, like then we just be like, hey, well, I don't know. It's like that's what we researched. And that's the thing. And that it's like the communities can be scientific communities, can be cultural, like social things, all sorts of stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, we can do that stuff. Would Jesus ever find himself in the situation where he finds himself where he asks himself this question? See, I wouldn't know. I don't know what Jesus thinks about. But it's like, this is the thing, is one of these questions, like, could like an omniscient God not realize that we're suffering? If God doesn't know we're suffering in this world, then the God is not omniscient. And then if it does know that we are suffering, then it's not like all benevolent. Or even if it is all benevolent, then it can't be omnipotent because it can't stop the suffering. So it's one of these things. It's should I add that line in the paper soon in theology that I about eschatology? Oh man, I got another wasp in here. God damn it. Eschatology, the part of religious practice that deals with death, judgment, etc. In philosophy, it's almost like there is a scientistic eschatology. For science cultists, the great God science will soon reign. For the panicking anti-sciencers, that the demon science is gaining power to crush the truth of private experience and ineffable feelings. I mean, what line though? It's like, I don't think I'm saying anything particularly genius here. Just like claiming that people are apocalyptic is kind of like a sociological claim. Like we really like apocalyptic thought. It gives meaning to people's lives to think that like we live in sort of the end of times. Like this is, it makes people think like, oh yeah, I'm important. I'm here at the end. I'm gonna see what happens. And I don't know if I find that. Yeah, I mean maybe there's something to that. I'd have to think more on it. Since it makes it like Jesus wouldn't have to struggle with whether he should tell his wife that he was cheating on her. Did Jesus have a wife? Like, wasn't he dating like Mary Magdalene? Wasn't she a prostitute anyway? I mean, I guess like you could cheat on your prostitute. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, not. Don't be sorry to ask. Let's just go look it up. Not scatology, no. Eschatology. This is, yeah, the theological view of the end of world. Okay, that's what it is. So concerns expectations of the end of the present age, human history, or the world itself. So yeah, no, it's good to get the right definition. So that's all it is. Oh, that's the point. He had no wife. His bride is a trick. Well, there we go. Trick question. Thank you so much. You know, it's funny. I used to watch this stream. I still do. I mean, I was watching him today actually, and it's Mr. Llama. And Mr. Llama, you know, he's always go. That's why you see this emote. Like, if you see me around, like, you'll see this emote or whatever. Wherever. That emote, little llama wave. And he always used to joke that, what was the damn joke? Oh, man, I'm blanking. That he was dating Chat. Like, he didn't have a girlfriend, he was dating Chat, and he'd tell funny dating stories, because, you know, he was a big geek, and, like, he's a streamer, and big geek, and, sort of that stuff, and he had some hilariously, like, embarrassing, and how's it going, Ann? He had some hilariously bad dating stories, and so he's like, I'm dating Chat, you are all the people I'm dating right now. It's like, I don't have a girlfriend or a wife, I'm dating you. What's funny is that, you know, I've been following him so long, he eventually got married and has a kid now. So, like, since I've been watching the guy at the start of, like, 2019 or whatever, the pandemic, and, yeah, and, now since then, he's gotten married and has a kid. What's going on, Ann? Let's give some shout-outs since we have some people here. Let's shout out the Aristotle, our good buddy, philosophy streamer. If anyone here is not following Aristotle, please go follow Aristotle. He is a classical philosopher of ancient Greek and Roman philosophy, specializing in cynicism now, and also does Ask Me Anything stream. So feel free to go over there and shit post as to your heart's content. Oh yeah, Aris, if you have questions about like the Stoics and stuff, because I saw you have you know, you have to put a paper together and you want to get a cynic's perspective, like feel free to ask. I got no problem. Not a trick question since I'm just saying asking what Jesus would do only makes sense if it was a situation where he got in the first place by sinning. Fair. That's fair. Very fair. So it's like, again, it's like, what would happen in this situation? Well, how would Jesus have even gotten to that situation? So what would Jesus do if he were addicted to heroin? Who knows? It's an unhelpful metaphor. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, people would want to say, I get the idea. What would the ideal person do if they happen to just like fall into your situation? And it's like, well, I don't know what the ideal person would do. And again, they would not have fallen into the situation. So I was like, I get the idea, what the impetus behind it, but you're right. It doesn't really make sense. And that was Moore's point. He has no idea how, what, or why Jesus would be doing if Jesus had his life. Like, it doesn't really make sense. Also, since maybe we'll give Anne a shout out later, but Anne's one of our friends. You can you can click our link. She's the first link in the second comment right there. Right here, I guess. Here, this one. I'm not used to this screen. They mean, what would Jesus counsel them to do? Yeah, I guess that's the easiest way to understand it. Anne is a sociologist and political scientist, and currently out of academia at the moment, but may get back in one day, I bet. I have no idea. Yeah, and does a variety of things online streaming. So give her a follow if you can. So yeah, like drop one of your emotes in chat, and that makes it easier for people to follow. Because anyway, if you ever see someone online on Twitch, you can click on their emotes, and that gives you an easy way to follow them too. So keep that in mind. I don't think I'm subbed to Ann at the moment, though. I'm also simulcasting to YouTube again today, so if there's anyone out there on YouTube watching, no, I don't have anyone on YouTube, but that's all right. So it's like, yeah, but welcome in, and I hope feel free to chat. I do have the YouTube chat up. So yeah, so like I said, if you want to like click on the little thing, it gives you an easy way to subscribe to them. You click on the green, the black and green heart, I think, is how to do it. Anyway, so what's going on with everyone else? I hope you're doing well. Like I said, stream troubles starting up. Wouldn't be a stream without them. What else is going on? Oh, what was I thinking about? Shit. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to just like, oh, that's it. I avoided the my normal come down from like, I work so hard on like a paper, get it into like a decent state. I send it out to like wherever it's sent. At this point, it's just with somebody else, and then it's like, now I'm just like, what do I do now? It's like it's like loss. You have to like figure out, what do you do with your life? All of a sudden, you've been focused on everything. So again, I'm just like working on stuff. Like I've got a bracket here I bought to work on leather work, so I can like work on leather work. It's like right here. I have not actually used it there. It's been sitting there for weeks now. Yeah, and then there's all sorts of shit I gotta get done. Oh man, need to like get out of this room. And what were we? Where were we? I was in somebody's thing where they were saying, you can tell what a person is like by what they have on like their screen. I'm like, you don't say. You think my mind is clean? This is what's in my head. It's a fucking mess. So it's like, yeah, yeah, that's how it goes. Lumpy, how you been? What's going on? I saw your message in, I think, Aris's chat. Ivan, the man of the man of religion. We were just talking about end of world stories. What's up? I saw your message saying things were going better for you. So yeah, Globus, how you doing, Prof. Laura? Welcome in. Oh, we've got like all the peoples. I'm just gonna like drop my philosophy thing. How was the rest of your stream, Ivan? Hope it went well. Yeah, so we have Prof. Laura, who is a sociologist and philosopher in chat. We've got on Ray O'Brien. We've got Globus the Elder, who click on the link. It's here. Feel free to drop your emotes. I was just saying to Ann, like if you drop your emotes in chat, it makes it easier for everyone to follow. You go click on them. Globus does AI and news on that stuff. Yeah, the client is happy and your team is performing well. That's good. Yeah. You made it on the list. You go. You love me. There we go. Yeah. You spent a wonderful weekend with Muffin. All right, so it sounds like you've had a good few days. Stream was good. Thanks for the input. Oh, it's the blah blah blah. I'm not sure. Ryle recommendation. Oh, it's like if Prof. Lara is gonna recommend something, it's gonna be like Ryle and Kant. I don't know why. Yeah. So yeah, he was talking Dennett. Okay, there you go. Oh yeah, like I think I saw something about that too. That was in Aris's Discord. But yeah, so how's it going? If anyone does not know who I am Noger, No Gray, whatever. My name's Noah. If you want to give people a follow, because I just shouted out Ann. So it's like, click on someone else's, no, I didn't shout out Ann, I just shouted out Aristotle. Click on the emote here, and then you can get the easy follow, because there's a little follow button on the green and black heart when you click on someone's emotes. She laughed so hard at the shingles vaccine joke on our stream. He's had some good streams lately. I mean, I'm still proud about the egg discussion. I thought the egg discussion was actually very entertaining. The discussion having to do with Amaranth and her beer. You know, the funny thing is, like, I have no problem. Like, where else do bacteria and like viruses and all that stuff come from? They're coming from the natural world, people, animals. It's like, you know what, I don't object to Amaranth yeast beer, actually, because where else would you get yeast? It's like, this is a thing. I love the egg discussion. Well, I like the egg discussion because I came up with the ass ceviche idea, and we still did not know if the ass ceviche would work. So I was the originator of, I didn't come up with the name. I think that might have been Caudillo, but the ass ceviche idea, I came up with that. So that's why I liked it. I just thought I had some good input that day. Yeah, that Naz lol. I think that Naz lol yeehaw is actually pretty good emote from Naz. Yeah, so it's been I think the streams have been the stream community is like been, I think, doing well. Sounds like people, I mean, the only person that's like in the shit house in the dog house, not the shit house, is poor Shane. We have to get him like I'd send Shane a few bucks so we can get a new CPU or whatever. Yeesh, that's a problem. Thank you for the subscription, Ivan.
Join my church.
Yeah, I forgot about the TTS and I didn't see that. Yeah, his CPU melted, Aris. Something happened. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. You have to like, I fear like we'd have to like force Shane to take something, but like I'd send him a few bucks. He went to an Asian grocery store and loaded up on snacks and rare ramen. Oh, I keep telling this guy I work with, his daughter is like the biggest weeb. It's like hilarious. He's got like this weeb daughter, and he's like an ex-gangster in the Bronx. He's a guy I work with, and like I'm like, go to a fucking Japanese ramen place. Like you will have good food. You'll be happy to eat the noodles, and like she will be like doing her like Japanesey thing, and she'll be happy, and it'll be like. I keep telling him, like, go to a fucking real ramen place. We have them here in the city, and like you eat like Japanese ramen from like an actual like Japanese dude who knows how to cook ramen properly. That stuff is crack. Like you're like, why am I eating any other food when I could be eating this every day? And then you have to wean yourself off of it, but like oh my god, good. It's like you have to do this. I keep telling him that, and he hasn't gotten around to it. I'm like, and your daughter would love you for it, and he was like, oh, blah blah blah, keep going, gotta do it. Yeah, so it's like that. It sounds fantastic, Lumpy. Yeah, what else is going on? So, oh god, I gotta go get some ramen. I had fish and chips from a local like fish place today for lunch. Oh, that was so good. That's all I wanted. I wanted that for days. Hey Frank, what's up? Any other food other than New York pizza than you mean? No, right. You can't eat New York pizza all day, every day. Like that's like Italian food. Like you will die. You will die. It will kill you. It's like you will have a heart attack and die if you eat pizza constantly. Like, that's not. I'm not telling you to eat pizza all day. It's like I'm sure if you ate the ramen, it's too salty and you will die from that too. But like, yeah. So yeah, oh yeah, get the little fish and chips. Fish fresh from the East River. No, although. This is years ago, and I don't know what the rules are now, but it used to be that you weren't allowed to eat more than like one fish a month from the local waters because it was so polluted. Then it went up to 3. Like you were allowed to eat 3 fish from the local waters per month because of the amount of like pollutants in the water. It has been getting progressively cleaner in this area, so I don't know if like that cap is still there. Then a few years after like the numbers went up, they tested the fish in all the restaurants, like not bad places, mind you, good restaurants, and they had all sourced their like fish like appropriately. The places selling the fish were lying to them. They were getting it from the local area, and it was all poisoned fish, like really bad fish. And like it had all the nasty shit that was in the water in New York from like hundreds of years of pollution, and so like that created a bit of a scandal. So yeah. You just ate 3/4 of a large pepperoni pizza. I feel gross, lol, and I want the rest. Yes, 2 weeks ago, I literally just got a pizza to myself and like ate 2 pieces for dinner, then ate 2 pieces for lunch the next day, and then like ate the last 2 pieces for dinner. I felt very gross, but like it was fantastic, but I felt gross afterwards. You don't need a stove, you just set fire to the fish. Yeah, well, like I said, it's getting way cleaner in this area. You're allowed to eat it, and you know, this is the thing. This is one of those things. It's like, guess who eats the most local fish? It's poor people who go fishing for like, you know, a meal or two. Like they'll set, like people will set out their fishing poles. They'll catch some small fish, they'll fry them up, and they'll eat it because, you know, it's an easy way to get like a meal. And so it's like, it's been just one of these stupid things in New York. So, but on the upside, all the fancy people who thought they were getting non-local food were getting the same exact fish that the poor people were. So, you know, can't be so sad. Hong Kong waters are very polluted too. Not surprised. I mean, you're going to have this. When you lived in Hong Kong, we ate local fish about 5 times in that year. Yeah, so it's like, that's the thing. Yeah, Aris eats too much pizza. You got to get that under control. Yeah, you got to, well, everyone has to. Please eat well. Treat yourself well. But like this weekend, I want to, you know, chill out. I got myself some Chinese food yesterday, which probably wasn't a great idea, but I ate all of it because I didn't eat a whole lot. That was bad, just eating all of it, but it tasted great. And today I had my fish and chips, which was expensive because it's like a kind of a nice place, but like, oh, it was good. Like good fish and over fries. Even the Great Lakes have problems with, PFAS, whatever. Yeah, that stuff now. Yeah. But like I said, we are getting better here in New York because of all the regulation. Eventually, it has started to clean itself out. We used to actually have one of the largest oysters, population in the entire world. Oysters clean the water, and they are consciously starting to like try to get the oysters to come back, and they are coming back, and it's like really helping the local ecosystem. So yeah. You could go all in for some Chinese right now. Oh, I got chicken lo mein. It's like the place I go ain't great, but it ain't bad, and they give you a lot. So it's like just some like pretty solid chicken lo mein. I just scarfed the whole fucking thing, man. It was great. Lumpy says Muffin made butternut squash soup. Oh, I love butternut squash soup. That's so good. And pilaf rice and salmon. That's a solid meal. That's so good. I want ingrained ain't bad. Real solid. Fuck yeah. Like we had a place here that was like here for 40 fucking years, and the pandemic killed them. They were just like, it didn't kill them literally, it killed them because they were, you know, doing this for 40 years and they just couldn't handle, you know, the restaurant lifestyle anymore, because, you know, they were making money, but they were just like working 12-hour days, and it was like, oh, and they closed, and it's really sad. But so I started going to this other place I'd go to a little bit, and it's funny, in this area, one of the things that it may be similar in your areas, it's like the old joke from The Simpsons, like you've got Apu, the Indian guy, in the convenience store. Well, around here, we don't have really very many convenience stores that like you can franchise out, or you do, but it's all sort of corporate. What we do have is a lot of Chinese food places, and Chinese families would move into a community with a Chinese restaurant. They'd take it over, they'd open it up themselves, and then they'd have the kid go to like, you know, the local public school, which in my area is pretty good. So it was like, this was a way for them to get into the school district, make a little money, and like, you know, get themselves a nice life. And then when the kid left for college, they'd sell it to another Chinese family with little kids that they wanted to get into a decent school district. And like, I had a good friend in high school, Ivan. That is exactly what his family did. When he was 17, they moved to New Jersey, and he commuted every day to school to finish out high school. And then they sold the place to somebody with 4-year-olds. Like, that's what they did. And so this was like a way for the Chinese community to, you know, pull themselves up. But like, yeah. And so, but it's a hard life. The restaurant, like, you don't want to do it forever. Like, restaurant work is difficult. Yeah. During COVID, once every week or two, there was a restaurant in Detroit burning down. That is scary. Yeah. So it's like, yeah. And so that's what I was saying. The place I've been going to, I've watched the kids grow up. I've been here too fucking long. I literally remember them when they were like yay big, and now they're like tall. They're like teenagers now. I bet they're like in high school or whatever. And it's like I don't want to like say to the kid, because the kids sometimes work in the registers, like, I remember when you were in like 4th grade. It's like, that's weird. But like I do remember when they were in 4th grade, and now I'm getting like teenage girl looks at me when I'm like she's just like I'm like looking at like this teenage girl being like, I hate the world. I'm like, yeah, I know you're a teenage girl, that's fine, but it's like I'm looking at them like, I remember when you were fucking like 7 years old, like you were cute, and now you're just like angry teenage girl. It's like she's still like not a bad looking person, but it's just like kind of funny. It's like, I remember when you were this big, now you're this big, and it's like, and you're hating the world. It's like, I don't care, it's funny, just give me my chicken fried rice. But like it's like, yeah. The suspicious being for the insurance money. Oh, yeah. I mean, that of course happens around here too. Yeah, a lot of things burn down suspiciously, collapse under weird conditions. That happens. I guess that's everywhere. But yeah. There was a in Yonkers, they were doing all this building of apartment buildings, and it was on the waterfront. And they were building a lot of apartments because they were by the train station. For those who don't know, Yonkers is the next city north of the Bronx. So like it's another city. Like and if New York City wasn't here, Yonkers is a massive city. Like most places, Yonkers would be something like a major city, but it's just overshadowed. Also, Yonkers kind of sucks. But they were building like apartment buildings around the water. And then like the pandemic hit, and one of the buildings just happened to like catch fire and burn. I'm sure they just didn't want to finish like the building like in the pandemic. It's like, yeah, it's like, no, you lit fire to your own fucking building, you assholes, because you didn't want to have to like pay the builders or whatever. So yeah, it happens. Like it's just way too convenient. Fires happen. I remember I was working for somebody a long time ago that was in with the cops. They burnt down their building, and they said that they were walking through with the fire inspector, and when you light a building on fire, yeah, this is very scummy, but like this was like not a bad organization I'm talking about now though. When you light a building on fire, there's accelerant things, things don't just catch on fire to usually light everything on fire. You have to like start a fire and like accelerate it. You have to like, put gasoline there, or like purposefully catch things on fire. Things don't normally just like blow up in flames and burn everything down. If you want a total destruction, you have to put some effort in. And so there's like scorch marks where they had poured gasoline on the floor, and the fire inspector just looks at it and be like, yep, natural conditions. Because like they didn't the fire inspector at that point was in their pocket, so they were, insurance fraud. But yeah, that was a long time ago now. Wow. Okay. But yeah, insurance fraud, hooray. Oh, people I used to work for. Lumpy says, oh, Jeebus, an old teacher told me it was solvent to use not to leave traces. Yeah, and this is one of those things. We did not know that, but like, if you're friends with the fire inspector, it doesn't matter though either. You see what you mean by the crime being organized? Yeah, our crime is organized. When we shoot, we hit our gangsters, when they shoot at you, it means they were aiming for you. They don't hit the bystanders. Like, bystanders getting shot is frowned upon. When we shoot at you, that means you were the intended target. But then you gotta spread it in a believable manner. Yeah, I mean, there's ways to do it. And the fire inspectors know what they're doing. They've seen everything. They've heard every lie. They understand what all of this looks like. So you actually have to know what you're doing to, like, actually commit, like, quality fraud. Any idiot can try to do, like, insurance fraud, but, if you have someone that's competent, you're gonna get caught. It's just you're hoping you're gonna fall through the cracks like most people. So it's like... So years ago, I had a buddy, he was working for, he was a meteorologist, but like a theoretical meteorologist. He had a PhD in meteorology from MIT, and the insurance companies were paying his firm to see if they could figure out better data on hail, because hail damage means you get a new roof if you have insurance. If you have home insurance and your roof is damaged by hail, you could get yourself a new roof. Sam Bankman-Fried likes fraud. Yeah, I mean, that guy didn't pull it off very well. You have to know better. He almost pulled it off. Like, if he didn't get, like, frankly, if, like, Bitcoin, the history had gone a little bit differently, he may have gotten away with it, because it would have, like, if the price kept going up, he could have kept hiding that he had, like, he had stolen billions, but like if he had enough billions to like cover it, he may have been able to put it off long enough to get away with it eventually. But thankfully, well, I don't know, thankfully or not, but like good that the fraud was caught. What was I just saying? God damn it, streamer brain. But shit, I did have a point. I had a point. You gotta spread it in a believable manner. You gotta spread everything in a believable manner. Memes and suspicions and whatnot. What was I saying? Damn. Committing fraud is easy if you know what to do. Yeah, that you're gonna slip through the cracks. Yeah. Dag now, I had a story. What was I saying? Forgot my story. Shoot. Yeah, so we hit Bitcoin. I was doing insurance fraud. Yeah. Oh yeah. So he worked for. Not me committing fraud. This was my buddy was saying if you could find out where hail hits, then you could tell who actually needs a new roof, who deserves a new roof, and who doesn't. The problem would be anytime a storm would come through and there was any hail reported, contractors would go around to the houses and say, let me up on your roof and I'll find hail, so I can look for hail damage, and then, I'll repair your roof and you'll get a new roof from me, and, it won't cost you anything. And what they would do is they'd go up on the roof with a hammer and poke some holes in it and be like, hail damage. So it was insurance fraud because they were, faking like they had hail damage. They'd show pictures of it, but like the insurance company couldn't know if, the damage was intentional from like a scummy contractor or from actually hail, and they needed to know. Yeah, train of thought retrace. Dude, streamer brain is real. And so they said, like, if you can solve where hail is actually falling based on like our mathematical and like weather data, that would be like millions of dollars. You could just get millions of dollars. I don't know if it ever got solved. I actually gave him a good idea. I was like, dude, no one is going to commit insurance fraud for their car. So if there's no car damage, like nobody's car got hit by hail, no one's also going to have roof damage. So it's like you can just correlate the cars with the roofs. And I don't know if like they made a lot of money off that. He never told me. I do want to know. This guy's a snitch. Yeah. So that's the thing. It's like there's a lot of ways to, commit fraud. Not good. You're basically raising the rates on everyone else. This is why Trump's in trouble in New York also right now, because he was committing fraud by saying he was worth more money, and then he'd take on bigger loans. The problem is that means everyone else that was getting a loan in New York, like me, for like anyone else here, would need to pay higher rates because there's less money to go around. So it's like, this is what fraud does. It, raises the cost for everyone else. So it's not a good thing. But it's called the tragedy of the commons a lot of times. People overuse the common resource and then how to deal with it. And it's a difficult problem to solve. I read some in the philosophy of economics and social theories, this tragedy of the commons. You can look it up. Actually, so let's see what we got right here. Just see what is available. Tragedy of the Commons. Yeah, Tragedy of the Commons. Hey, Adam Fighter, what's up? See, the Tragedy of the Commons is a voting game. The Tragedy of the Commons. So this is a thing. So like the Tragedy of the Commons as essentially aggravated harm. Lifting lockdown, the Tragedy of the Commons. Yeah, the Commons is such a hot topic in poli-sci. Yeah, that's cool. See, this is like, these are new papers. This is 2020. Yeah. And urban sociology. Yeah, it's a paradox. So yeah, so this is the thing. This is from 2014, this one. This is unknown. This is 2015. So like, yeah, this is current stuff that is being discussed on how to work this one out. I just heard also, speaking of crypto, that blockchain actually solved something called the Byzantine general problem. I had not heard about this, but there's a Byzantine generals problem. Byzantine generals problem. Okay, that did not work. See if we can fail. What is the Byzantine generals problem? Okay. What is this? Okay, yeah, so this is like, I guess this is a game theory problem. How do decentralized parties arrive at a consensus without a trusted central party? Okay, yeah, so it's about decentralized agreement. So yeah, interesting. This sort of thing. Byzantine generals comes up in AI alignment. Interesting, Globus. See, this is, and what's interesting here is that blockchain is currently thought to solve this. And so this is new research at this point. So this is called Byzantine fault. So maybe like we actually would have to, so if you have AI alignment problems, they'd have to be built into blockchain. That's bad. But one of the interesting things I just saw, I only just found out about this. So let's see, solutions, blah, 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 critical, I don't know. Okay. Luminance Bloom. This philosophy roulette idea is really cool. Why, thank you, Luminance. Welcome in. Yeah, I've been doing it for a while now. If you check out my YouTube and stuff, do I have? Because I've been. So yeah, I've been multicasting. I'm multicasting today, but if you click on my YouTube, you'll see all the old ones. So there's something like this is like number 490. You can see right here, but like I've got 400. I've got I think I've got 2 to 489 coming up on the YouTube. Yeah, you should do a book review about those books in the shelf. These are my dad's old books. But yeah, they're like, some of them are philosophy, but a lot of them are psychology. Yeah, I've been doing this for since the start of the pandemic. But what I wanted to look up here is the Metaphysics Journal. There's a journal called Metaphysics. Metaphysics. Let's see. This one, I think it is. And let's it's an open access journal. Let's go here. Metaphysics. Do you have a particular area you specialize in my own work? My work, I've been published in philosophical logic and theory of knowledge. I work at the edge of philosophical logic, metaphysics, and knowledge. I'm a very like analytically oriented when I write and stuff. But yeah. But like, okay, so home, they have a new call for papers here. This is a new call for papers in a journal of metaphysics called Digital Artifacts. So you can go here. This is like this open access journal for metaphysics. A lot of fancy people have been in here. Wait, are we not loading? For more details, see here. What? No, don't be. It's opening a PDF. All right, let's do this. How is knowledge defined in philosophy? Okay, here we go. So this is, I'll tell you in a sec. I'll get back to Adam Fighter. Yeah, justified true belief, lol. Exactly, with the emphasis on the lol part. So here, let's see. So this digital artifacts. They actually said Byzantine generals problem here. So like here, so this is a new thing. Can digital artifacts be created by non-humans? For instance, can ChatGPT's outputs be seen as digital artifacts? And so they were actually asking. I saw this in their stuff on maybe one of these. I don't know why it's not showing up. Like they actually had a better page than this. But like I don't understand. They had a whole thing. It said the Byzantine general problem as being solved by digital artifacts. So it's like, this is kind of an interesting thing. So yeah. Anyway, I just was like, this is something that came up, and maybe Globus would be interested in any of that. I don't know. But like, it's actually like, this is something that blockchain is working to solve, which is cool. Anyway, justified true belief. How do you define knowledge? I define knowledge as things that are so integrated into our life that we could not actually doubt their existence. So I define knowledge as things like hands, because every day of your life, basically, if you have a hand, it has been involved with you having hands. So if every day of your life you were wrong about having hands, you'd be wrong every single day of your life. And that would just basically pull everything down with it. If you were wrong about hands, you'd be wrong about your name, you'd be wrong about lots of stuff. So that's my definition. It's this fundamental integration into your life that compounds. It's like Like, it's not just that yesterday you had hands, it was that every day you had hands. And so it compounds into it being involved in all the things. So I have this compounding integrationist theory of knowledge. That's just me. Other people do it differently. They have reliabilist systems. Then there's like rationalist systems. Like, how do you know things? Well, you know 1 + 1 is 2 because by definition that way. And then there's the classic justified true belief. If you know something, it is justified, like you have reason for it. It is true. That's the way the world is, and you do believe it. So there you go. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, I did have that paper published. I was at the it was only a conference paper, but they do publish it. So that paper was published on that sort of thing. Why, thank you, Adam Fighter. So that's the stuff I do. Also, I like metaphysics. I mean, not the academic metaphysics. I do like some metaphysics. How would I compare my view to Quine's web of belief, where the central beliefs are difficult to revise because they change everything? I key off of the Wittgenstein, where you can't change everything because there's failure involved. You can't, like, I'm not up on what exactly Quine says, but the difference is that I'm working with failure conditions. I'm not working with, okay, everything would change. Change doesn't come into my picture. You can't change these things. These things, if you change them, you're fucked. Like, literally, you can't speak anymore because you don't know what grammar is. What Quine's web of belief, I'd have to look up the details, but the issue is basically I'm dealing with failure conditions where other people do not deal with failure conditions. I can actually just show you guys. Search fill papers. Wittgenstein's wager. My paper. This is me. So I make up a wager, basically, that is more like Pascal's wager. Pascal's wager, if you don't know, says, look, should you believe in God? This is a question. If there is no God, you have an extra belief, but it's not going to harm you. But if there is a God and you don't believe, you could go to hell. That would be bad. But if you do believe, you could go to heaven and you'd have infinite life forevermore. And so you are overmatching all other decisions by the infinite life you might have in heaven compared to all the other things. Like, if you're wrong about God and there is no God, it doesn't really make a big difference. It's small. But if you're wrong and there is a God, you're fucked. So the idea is that it's completely overmatched. And so this is mine. I have a decision theoretic version of knowledge that I don't think Quine has. So I don't know. Pascal's mugging. Oh, I've seen Pascal's mugging. I don't remember. Oh, I forgot what Pascal's mugging is. Dagnabbit. See, this is what happens. But like, Pascal's mugging is a fun thing. Let's look that up real briefly. I read a paper on that a while back, and it was kind of fun. It was wrong, but it was fun. Yeah, planning for Pascal's mugging. Nick Bostrom analysis. I see. I don't know if you can see, but everything was like, I think this was grayed out. So it's like, yeah. Wait. What's this? Dagnabbit. I can't see this. So, shoot. I can't do this quickly to recall what it is. But, like, yeah, you can get mugged, and then the mugger would be like, well, this condition, you'd have infinite life if you give me your wallet. It's like, so you give him the wallet and you don't know. Yeah, double the value. So, a 200 return on investment in 24 hours. But then you have to give up your stuff. Yeah, Aris, if you want me to tell you how I'm different from Quine, you're going to have to remind me what Quine says, because I don't like Quine mostly. But that's see, Globus, like, this is a good point you bring up, and I feel bad now. I can't remember, because like, I've read this paper, this sort of thing. It's 2 pages. You can read it. Haha. I've read this already. Yeah, outside your area, don't worry about it. You know what I was thinking about? This is actually Valpo. I was thinking about this today. Valpo asked me something about epistemology, and I gave a bad answer. And I was like, I just don't think about shitty epistemologies. And so I would not, like, it's like I couldn't remember what the point was. It's like, oh, god damn it. Like, I do have an argument against this, but like, I've forgotten this. Like, I've forgotten this metaphysics. It's so long ago that I was like, this shit sucks. Why am I wasting my time thinking about it anymore? And so like, he asked me, I'm like, oh, I should have something to say, but I couldn't remember. I was like, damn it. It's like, I do know this stuff. So yeah, so in some dark alley, hey, mugger, give me your wallet. Why on earth would I do that? Otherwise, I'll shoot me. shoot you, but you don't have a gun. Oops, I knew I'd forgotten something. No wallet for you then, have a nice evening. Mugger says, wait, what? I've got a business proposition for you. How about you give me your wallet now? In return, I promise to come to your house tomorrow and give you double the value of what it's worth. Not bad, eh? 200 return on investment in 24 hours. No way. Ah, but you don't believe that I will be as good as my word. One can't be too careful these days. Tell you what, you give me your wallet, I'll come to your house and give you 10 times that value. Pascal's like, nah. All right, I'm going to give you, 1,000 times. So then you give it 1,000 times. So they're like, I doubt that. But yeah, so if you promise to give you a little bit more, and there might be any chance there's going to be a limit of money that you're going to be like, well, given the chance that I could get that amount of money, it might be worth doing it. So yeah. Valpo says that's how I feel about most epistemology, to be honest. That's how exactly, welcome in Valpo. That's how I feel about all epistemology. That's why I wrote a paper on epistemology, because I was like, this shit is stupid, and I don't like it, and I can actually say something else. Yeah. Link it. I love money as much as cookies. Yeah, so this is this one. So this is the thing. If you have, this is one of these, actually, this is going back to one of the recently hated articles by David Biles. It's using this idea that you don't quite know what the truth is. And so if there was like something that was so big a number that even if they only had the smallest little itsy chance of working, that the number was so big that you'd multiply it basically by infinity, you'd get an infinity out, then you should take the infinity. But it's ridiculous because these things don't have a very small chance of working. They have a 0 chance of working. So that's how it is. If someone offers you 10 grand to slap a baby, I might actually do it. Babies are annoying as hell. That's fair. I don't like kids very much myself. I don't really want to slap a baby, but tell you the truth, babies can take a slap. That's what happens when, you know, babies come out. A lot of times they have to like be slapped to get them to start breathing outside. So it's not like that's not a medically like every so often there's like one of these things where it's like this is the correct medical thing to do. Babies can take a hit. So yeah, so this ends with pleasure doing business. The magic will be performed tomorrow as agreed. Yeah, so if like you are talking with somebody and there's a small chance that they can perform a magical act that will give you all your wildest dreams, but it's a non-zero thing and your wildest dreams are worth infinite to you, then why wouldn't you give over your wallet? It's the money in your wallet, like $100 is like small compared to the possible reward. So it's like, yeah. So yeah, that's thank you for bringing that up, Globus. Yeah, this is one of these like stupid things in epistemology. It's like so dumb, but that's why I was saying the failure conditions are interesting to me though. Like what was I was on my stuff? Yeah, this is me. But like yeah, this is the failure conditions. That's how I work out my epistemology. It's like, what actually can you make a mistake about? Because there's a limit to how you understand what a mistake is. And like, I can make a mistake about what like the weather is going to be. I can make a mistake about lots of things. But like, there's a limit to the things I make a mistake about. At a certain point, it stops making sense to say I'm making a mistake. You've done a different thing at that point. And so it's not like there's a web of belief that you're pulling down. It's like you've done something categorically different. Yeah. And so that's kind of what happens. Is I try to, you know, there's certain things you just like, it doesn't make sense to say you were making a mistake about, and they're categorically different from just calling it knowledge. The term knowledge just is too general. So, yeah, terrible. Just disgusting. Makes me like skin crawl. Most epistemology makes my skin crawl, which is unfortunate because I like epistemology. I like the idea of this being like a philosophical topic. We should be able to investigate what knowledge is. Like this is sounds like a brilliant fucking thing to be doing. Like, okay, we've got science. We get knowledge from science. How? What kind? It sounds like a great fucking time. Let's go find out and we can maybe do more science. And I'm like all with Ivan Neo up to this point. And then I get into it and it's like terrible and these people suck. And I'm like, all right, I have to go do something different because this is god-awful horrible. So then I got pushed into metaphysics and other stuff, and I was like, shit, I'm good at metaphysics. I'm better at the other stuff than what passes for epistemology these days. Although I can't really complain. This is my downloads. So even when it just got published, this paper, it only had like, you know, a few hundred, like, you know, 80, 90, 100 downloads there. Last month, something happened. I don't know what. 174 downloads. And then again, so 2 months ago in September, because I was, 20, 28, 10, 18, so 30, 46. Something happened last month, and I don't know what this is, but it got posted somewhere. And these did not hit my profile. These are direct downloads, and I don't know what happened. So 174 2 months ago and 124 last month. And you can see I'm back to my normal numbers for this month, 5. Like 5 in the first few days is good. I mean, it's like the 5th of November. If I got 1 a day, that would put me back in this 30 range. Like this was 28. This is 31. That would put me back where I was. But I don't know what happened the last 2 months here. So interesting things. But like I end up looking at my, downloads too much because it's like whatever's. I just wonder. I wonder. I don't know. So, anywho. Hey, not even that many dropped frames. Ivan says, I don't think Pascal's mugging is trivially easy to resolve. That is, I don't think common sense is sufficient to dismiss it. Yeah, it's going to play off of things that like you like. Sadly enough. We think the solution probably involves some calculus. Yeah, so this is one of the differences between me and you. You're going to default to this sort of mathematical understanding of things. I am not. I'm just going to say, no, there's no chance of you doing magic, and I'm going to dismiss you outright as a fool if you say you're going to give me 1,000,000 times return on my money. And so I'm going to treat you as a fool and say you have no standing. If you were doing science and you have to say the person seems reasonable and all of a sudden like a reasonable person is telling me they're going to give me 1,000 times return on my money, then all of a sudden you're going to be in a lot of trouble. But that's why it's an interesting problem, and that's why Globus brought it up, because it's relevant. What happens when you've got these things that like push you over the limit of what you normally deal with? Frank says, 200 AI philosopher project is scraping my stuff. Yeah, maybe. I mean, good luck, like, writing philosophy with AI. I don't think we're quite there yet. You can write, I mean, the stuff I've seen is, like, you can write yourself a nice summary paper, but, I have to futz with it more. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do, oh, and hello, YouTube, whoever you are. Thank you for stopping by. But I don't know. I doubt like you're going to have AI philosophy. You can do stuff in the style of a philosopher, but I don't think you're actually going to do much of a... you're going to have very much a good philosophy out of it. Not for a while. Philosophy's hard. Tindarios ran my stuff through an AI checker to see if it was like AI, and it came back completely not AI checked. Like not AI. Like very, very likely not written by AI. One of the things about... what happened there was, where is that thing? He ran my paper through. I checked the internet for phrasing in my paper to make sure the internet did not have any of my phrasing in it. I went and searched for the different phrases in my paper to make sure it did not exist. So when you search the internet for my stuff, it shows up first because no one else wrote that stuff down. And so it's like, I purposely AI wrote my paper, and I wasn't doing it on purpose, but I did it for searchability so that the search engines would find my stuff immediately because I was the only one using those keywords and those phrasings. But that also means that the AI, when it was trained off all the internet from the last few years, didn't find anything that looked like my work because I was specifically avoiding it. Yeah, so I'm not ChatGPT, exactly, Adam. You know Tindarius. Oh, well, yeah, Tindarius is here. And if Tindarius is here, paging Tindarius, if you are here, I will read your Nietzsche paper. But if you're not here, I'm not going to read the paper if you're not here. I got you on the Atom Fighter with the tilde as the negation. Unreal asks, is it possible that the likelihood of the payout diminishes more quickly than the ratio of input to promised output increases? I mean, the Pascal wager style problems always have to overmatch. They dominate. Those decisions by definition dominate all the other decisions. That's why they do it. Now in the Pascal mugging, it's like that. The whole thing is that like no matter how skeptical you are, the payout is supposed to be better than your level of skepticism. And so that's why like Ivan's trying to do calculus to like get a min max or something on this, and then you could like have a some sort of function that tracks what sort of level of skepticism you would need to have like per money when it becomes a good bet versus a bad bet. And so there might be like some Dutch book thing going on here. Yeah. Oh, he told you about the stream. Okay, well there you go. Yeah, Tindarius was running some stuff on my stream, so that was fun. Anyway, could go back. Well, I think that's Frank. Yes, of course, that is the point. But that's the idea, is that if you take it in, but like that'd be a solution. Would like you could say, look, like if you're upping it every time the skepticism level, then you could always say you need +1. But like that would be the whole point, is like to give a solution to the problem where you no longer are getting fooled by someone just willing to always increase the amount. So, but yeah. You get a function, you understand the graph, and you can just say, you should always be in this part of the graph where you're not getting screwed over. Yee. Anyway, so let's go take a look. What is available today? If Tindarius is here, paging Tindarius, we'll read the Nietzsche, but if not, we'll go find something else. Artificial Intelligence and the Law from a Japanese Perspective, a book review. That's kind of fun. I mean, that's not something I want to read right now, but this is fun. On pattern cladistic analyses based on a complete plastid genome sequences. That is way too sciencey for me. From Acta Biotheoretica. We've got Anales de Catedra Francisco Suarez. Interesting. Don't have any idea what that is. APA studies in Hispanic Latino issues in philosophy. So this is what we read on last time, actually, from them. The Theater of Knowledge at 0 Point as a Colonial Enterprise. Santiago Castro Gomez engagement with Kant. Eugh. Unreal says, yeah, because in real life and ignoring the problem as an analogy, the more prominent the promise the payout, and the more person is inflating his promises over time, the more you'd be like, yeah, he's just bullshitting. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. But like, you could also solve that with math, but like in real life, like that's what I'd be. I'm like, you aren't magic. You would have to show me magic for me to believe that you're magic, and you're not going to show me any magic that's going to convince me at the moment. So it's like, it's just not happening. Recreating Asian identity, yellow peril, model minority, and black and Asian solidarities. Black and Asian solidarities. I wonder what that is, because in this area, ain't that much solidarity. There's been some problems between the Asian and the African American communities here. What do we got? The future of black and Asian solidarities. Interesting. Yeah, from the editors. Okay. We've got like... This is a longer article than they said, or is this more than one? Yeah, this is the whole thing. There's more than one. I don't want to read this, though. I can read something else, unless someone's interested in that. Asian Bioethics Review. Shinmi, a distinctive Japanese medical virtue. Ooh. That could be fun. Let's see how long it is. See if it's available. Shinmi. Download PDF. Your content has downloaded. Has it now? Okay, there we go. Take a look real fast. So this is interesting. Because, you know, you hear like different cultures, you know, they have different, yeah, this is, yeah, maybe I'll read this. I haven't read any Asian philosophy in a while. Let's read some Asian philosophy. Unless anyone has any objections. Do this thing. Oh, this is gonna suck. It's not gonna show up on stream though. Yeah, that looks. Do you guys see the box on the left here? Like, I don't know. I don't know why it keeps showing up like there's a box there. Like, that's really weird to me. Let me see something. It does show up. That's so weird. That's a glitch, I'm pretty sure. There's no reason why that should show up when I do this. Oh my god, why is this here? That is so weird. Let me see. No. Read overlay. What the fuck? That's so weird. Alright, I have to figure that one out. Because there's no reason why that should be happening. But yeah. Ivan says, Pascal's wager works by doing cost-benefit with the context of a particular theistic model. But opening it up to all models exposes the flaw. I suspect Pascal's mugging is vulnerable in the same way. A look at all the competing model spread the priors too thinly to get mugged. Yeah, that's fair. That is, I've seen people... I looked at this once a while back, and Pascal's mugging takes basically all the faults of Pascal's wager and applies them in a more like, contemporary setting where you're just getting mugged versus, the theological one. So, because you just have to believe whatever the person's saying. So yeah, there are multiple solutions to Pascal's wager. Like if you look them up, doing this cost benefit thing, like, well, which God are you talking about? The, Christian God that likes it when you believe, or other gods that don't give a shit? And it's like, why would you think that one God or all that stuff? So that's fair. All that stuff will work. But yeah. See, what am I doing? All right, so I got this listed. I'm just going to have to take this off because it's not going to show up anyway. So that's all right. How's that look? A little bit better. Okay. So that's good. Do the update. That's the paper if anyone's interested. And thank you for bearing with the little bookkeeping. But yeah, so this is what we do. Anyone who's new here, anyone watching on the YouTubes, I read papers, I review them, and we talk about them. So you let me know anything along the way. My first time reading this too. And at the end, we always give a little review, which will eventually go up on a website. But I have not quite got that together yet because, hell, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. It's all flying by the seat of my pants. Anyway. Frank says, give me $5 and I'll give you $1 billion tomorrow. Sorry, mate, I gotta save my bucks in case someone offers me $1 trillion. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You're going over the top, whatever over the top means for you. And they say, oh yeah, sorry, I misspoke. I'll give you the $1 trillion. They say, oh, I didn't want $1 trillion. I wanted, like 77 billion to blah, 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 blah. There's sevens all over the place. So like what? Like quintillion. So yeah. What is this? So yeah, this is Shinmi, a distinctive Japanese medical virtue by Reina Ozeki Hayashi and Dominic J.C. Wilkinson in the Asian Bioethics Review. As a perspective. Interesting. So let's go find out. I want to know what a uniquely Japanese virtue is. Here we go. Like I said, feel free to stop me along the way and we'll see what this has to say. Much has been written about the ideal doctor-patient relationship and the doctor's attitudes in terms of professionalism and ethics, mainly from the West. Although there has been less analysis of the concept of a good doctor in other cultures, different contexts, social values, and healthcare systems might give rise to different norms. The preferences of both doctors and patients will also potentially vary depending on cultural background. In many countries' medical education systems, concepts from Western countries are imported and translated. However, it is possible that distinctive national professional norms might arise that complement or compete with those Western ideals. And I think this is a good point. Like, I once said, like, I've got Jewish, background. Someone once came up to me and was like, I really like my Jewish doctors. They have a really good bedside manner. And they're, telling me this like it was a compliment to me. I'm not a doctor, but I'm, happy that you had a good experience with them. Have a good night, Lumpy. I'll give Lumpy a shout out. Lumpy is one of our buddies. Shout out Lumpy Dragon Potato. Lumpy Dragon Potato is Canadian, and I think he speaks French. But I've been watching some Canadian streamers, but yeah. So he streams Minecraft, but during his Minecraft streams, it's just chatting. So he talks about life, philosophy, money, finance, business, science, and all sorts of good things. You're gonna get back on streaming next week. Yeah, he's had some stressful weeks at work. Lumpy is a chemist. He makes chemical things and reports his results to rich people who are trying to make drugs and other whatnots. But yeah, so it's cool. So, thank you for being here, Lumpy, and drop Lumpy a follow if you don't mind. So, okay. But, yeah, so there's, what is bedside manner? As a concept? And I know Twitch skews a little bit younger, but I know the people in this community also are probably a little older than the Twitch demographic. So it's like, you have doctors. Some of your doctors I bet you've had suck. And you're going to have some good doctors, some bad doctors. Not that they were bad doctors. You just don't want to deal with certain people. So it's like, this is a thing. This is a very real thing. And when you're young, you don't have to know about this. When you get older, you do have to know about this. And so this is like actually like, important for everyone eventually to realize that we've been seeing your doctors less and less, and you're doing more and more of this, like filling out like paperwork and stuff, and you're just like checking off boxes and it's going to send through the AI but that does not actually mean for better health outcomes. And so there is something to be learned here. Okay. In Japan, one term used by professionals and the public to describe the ideal form of medical care is shinmi. And Fernald says, my GPU told me once to give myself to God when I went to get antidepressants. Lol. Yeah, and see, that's the problem. That's a shitty doctor. Be like, oh yeah, like religion will solve your problem. No, it won't. No, it won't. One of my doctors once called me a vampire. Well, he said, you look like a vampire. I was like, okay, thank you, doc. The dictionary definition of this word includes several distinct meanings. First, it refers to a person related by blood or a blood relationship. It also refers to taking somebody to one's heart, for example, to look after somebody with tender care. The related adjective shinmi na means amiable, cordial, kind, good-hearted, and benevolent, open-hearted, etc. Kindness or benevolence appear similar to the desirable attitudes of healthcare providers in Western countries. Because you're too pale, because you look good in a corset. At the time, I was rather sick, and it was the pale at back then. I don't know how I look in a corset, though. That might be something else I have to try out, and maybe I'll get a third vampire one. And the other time was one of my buddies said he thought I was a vampire, but then again, he may have been on lots of drugs at that point. So, yeah. So, so there are better and worse ways doctors can go about telling you how you are feeling and how you look to them than being told I'm a vampire, or that religion will somehow fix your problems that have nothing to do with religion, or maybe religion is the problem. Yeah. Okay. However, as other definitions such as tender care like family suggest, shinmi is not merely kindness, but also implies a level of care for patients as if they were doctor's own family members. It suggests a psychological proximity and a potential blurring of professional boundaries. Well, there's a job for Cincinnati, plus a nogreo in a corset. Oh, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. See what AI thinks about me in a corset. It's like, do I look good? I better look good, damn it. Okay, in this paper, we will introduce the concept of shinmi in Japanese healthcare through a fictionalized case that includes a doctor's shinmi na attitude. We will define the key elements of shinmi in healthcare and identify some potential problems. Finally, we will analyze shinmi through a virtue ethics lens and make suggestions for how to avoid excessive shinmi and maintain a balance between the needs of the patient, other patients, and the doctor in medical practice. Yeah, I was just thinking, my grandma was in ICU at one point. She was in intensive care, and the nurses in intensive care were like steps above other nurses. Like, I'm not surprised maybe they had a lot more leeway and time and support, but they were like, we had this one guy, he was just fantastic. He was just like the most caring, awesome nurse like I've ever dealt with. Now, I'm not saying the other nurses I've dealt with were bad. It's just I think he just had the time and ability to be as good a nurse as he could for the ICU people, and like you can tell it makes a difference as opposed to people who are understaffed and just trying to get their job done versus someone who has like the proper support. So yeah. Okay, so I guess what's going to happen in this paper is they're going to describe it as they said and then discuss it. So this is like a big thought experiment here. So we haven't had a big old thought experiment paper in a while. I actually like them. Some of my papers are kind of like this. I give you an idea and say, hey, look. And there's two different ways. Like you've heard, this is one of the things I like to talk about. How do you write your philosophy papers? What are you doing? There's different ways. Some people build fancy things. Like they're good at Legos. They make castles out of their little pieces. Me, I'm like, hey, look at this thing. I'm not like an argument I am an argument person, but what I do is I say, hey, look at this interesting thing, and here's what follows. So my arguments in some sense are much simpler. I say, look at the thing, therefore that. Other people, they say, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this, and if you put it all together, then you have this fancy thing. So this is kind of the, hey, look at this, here's what we're going to conclude style of writing. And this is closer to what I quite often do. All right. When Dr. B was a young doctor, she was responsible for a female patient Y in her 50s with gastric cancer and peritoneal metastases. I have no idea what this is. The patient had been admitted to a hospice as further curative treatment was deemed to be futile. Y had a husband and a daughter at university. She was B's first patient on hospice duty, and B was nervous but hopeful that she could manage Y's distress. During Y's stay in the hospice, her pain gradually worsened. She was slowly dying. Y wanted to spend time with her family, but her daughter and husband could not accept that she was dying and rarely came to see her. Dr. B had a good relationship with Y. She always described Dr. B as Shinmi na doctor. During her residency, her supervisor had taught her to treat patients as if they were her own family. Unreal says intestinal cancer spread to the lining of the sac enclosing the abdominal organs. That sounds terrible. Like you're going to die. And so I guess that's what happened here. So yeah, icky. Dr. B was, cancer sucks, by the way. Dr. B was pleased that Y trusted her and that she had established what she saw as the ideal relationship with her patient. Dr. B spent more time at Y's bedside than with any other patient, and they began to talk a lot about other things other than work. As Y's family distanced themselves, B found herself becoming angry and resentful towards them and felt that she had to support Y instead of Y's family, who seemed cold-hearted. When Y had to make a difficult decision, she asked B, if it was your mother's case, what option would you choose? When nurses could not find Dr. B on the ward, they would sometimes go to Y's room imagining that Dr. B would be there. Y was fully aware of her medical condition and had already indicated her intention not to receive cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Dr. B wondered if it might be better to prolong Y's life with CPR even against her wishes, to give Y a chance to spend as much time with her family as possible. Dr. B resisted this temptation. Ultimately, Y died without her family having enough time to spend with her. After Y's death, Dr. B felt a terrible loss and was mildly burnt out. Dr. B left the palliative care unit 2 years later. All right, 2 years though. In caring for Y, Dr. B provided family-like dedicated and special care for Y, which she did not provide to the other patients. Dr. B reacted strongly to and shared her patients' emotions and developed strong negative feelings toward Y's family. In retrospect, Dr. B acknowledged that at the time, she did not realize the importance of psychological distance from her patient and did not achieve a proper balance between emotional involvement and clinical detachment. She lost her professional objectivity before the patient's death, and this contributed to her becoming burnt out. Dr. B had tried to be the Shinmi na doctor, the ideal in Japan, but why did it end up this way? We will start by considering what constitutes a Shinmi na doctor. Okay, so, there's a few things here. Clearly, she got over-involved, but on the other hand, Y, the old lady, really, I'm sure, appreciated the extra care. The Shinmi na medicine doctor. In Japan, medical professionals with a Shinmi na attitude are considered virtuous practitioners. In addition, many Japanese patients understand Shinmi na medical care as ideal. For example, a search of hospital and clinic websites identified a number of institutions who explicitly describe themselves using this adjective. That is interesting. So this is becoming professional. A separate search of patient comments and complaints left online yielded a number of characteristics of either Shinmi and non-Shinmi doctors. Yeah, so imagine like rateyourdoctor.com and it's like Shinmi or non-Shinmi. It's like, yeah, the old rate your professor. How hot or not are you? How Shinmi are you? These results support the idea that Japanese patients perceive a doctor's Shinmi na attitude as the doctor's familial and emotional involvement as if they were patient family. The term is used to describe hospital policy or values and is also used by patients as a mark of good doctors. The Japanese doctor's version of hot or not? Yes, exactly. Shinmi na or non-Shinmi na? Exactly. There is ratemydoctor.com and whatever. If you look up doctors, doctor ratings, you're gonna find best doctors in New York near me. See, look at this. ZocDoc, best doctors. in this area, in the New York area. So this is the thing. You're going to get like 4.92, 4.97, 4.79. And like these are really nice headshots they got. These are like professionally done headshots here. 4.77, nice headshot, mister. These are professional. So it's like, it kind of is not any different than Hot or Not. Like, you're getting these real nice headshots, little ratings and stuff. It's a thing. So, and you might not have this where you are, but we get like publications, best doctors in New York, and you'll go to like doctors' offices and they'll have that there, and they'll have themselves circled in the little magazine that says best doctors in New York. Like, I've gone to like a doctor and like he would do that so you could see he was there. Yeah, Rate My Prof, exactly. Well, I don't know if you remembered, Rate Your Prof used to have Hot or Not on it. They took that off because, it started off as more of a fun thing, and then it started getting used, and it was inappropriate to have a Hot or Not. My old friend from like grad school, she was like working, and she said, I don't really care how low my grade gets as long as I still get they had a chili pepper. So as long as I keep my chili pepper, as long as I think I'm hot, it's okay. So that was Rate My Prof, yeah. Okay, so, however, as the case example illustrates, if a doctor tries to be an overly shin-me-na doctor, it can be detrimental to both themselves and to their patients. In the next section, we will describe two separate elements of a shin-me-na doctor and identify the problems that can arise if this is pursued excessively. Yeah, so instead of being a virtue, it can turn into a vice. So this is still in, like, you can describe this in Western terms, but it's interesting. So, okay. So like these are like a Google search for medicine and hospital. And so these are like claims from people's websites. Shin-me-na medical service, medical care. Shin-me-na care like a family. Shin-me-na care for everyone. Medical service for every patient and patient's physical and psychological concerns like a family. So it's interesting. They have this familial sort of bent to it. We don't do that here in the US, or I've never seen that. But like, this is a question, what actually gets you a better medical outcome? And anyone who's like dealt with the theory here, I don't know, of course, the practice, but there is so much that is like, it's not actually the medicine. It's like how people feel about stuff really makes a big difference in like how they get better. So it's like, it's a thing. It goes well beyond like the placebo effect. Okay. Shin-me-na attitude. 1. Familialism. Or don't they mean familialism? I don't know. I don't know the word. Okay, one clear element of the meaning of shin-me is that the doctor treats the patient as if they were a member of the doctor's family. We could refer to this as familialism, a term that indicates a cultural value placed on close family relationships and prioritization of family members. In Japan, this may reflect the influence of Confucian and Neo-Confucian values, which arrived from China in the Sukha period, 5th and 6th centuries, but were embraced and disseminated especially in the 17th and 18th centuries. Oh, I did not know that it was that old. That recent. That this is when it like actually took hold. Interesting. In Confucian society, the community of significance is the family and its extension, the kinship community. In other words, the stronger the blood-related ties, the stronger the degree of care. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a similar thing in the West where we'd say something like this, like family. We don't say family style care. I don't want my family doing medical stuff. Like no. Okay, one form of familialism is when health professionals treat their own family members. The permissibility of this varies from country to country. There are no guidelines or laws against doctors treating family members in Germany, Malaysia, Japan, and other Asian countries. In Japan, Matsunaga et al. Report that about 80% of family physicians had treated their own family members, and almost 90% were satisfied with their behaviors. Interesting. On the other hand, in many Western countries, guidelines prohibit or strongly recommend against doctors treating their own family members. Reasons for this prohibition include the risk of 1. Losing objectivity and blurring the professional boundaries between patient and doctors. 2. Compromised continuity of care. 3. Doctors making errors in medical judgment. 4. Necessary information not being communicated due to preconceptions of the patient or reluctance to deal with sensitive content. 5. Over-medication or under-medication. And 6. Problems with confidentiality. It's like, yeah, if I had to go to my parents and like ask them like the medical stuff, I don't think I'd want to talk to them. Valpo says, so girlfriend experience providers in the West, family surrogates. See, in some sense, like that's kind of jokey girlfriend experience, but you do want to feel like there's someone you can talk to, like you're open to that. And like maybe there's something to that because in the West, I've had very, you sometimes you have very business-like people you're dealing with, and you can't really discuss things with them. They don't want to hear it. Actually, my current primary care doctor, he's kind of intense. Like he'll be like staring at you, like he'll be like laser focused at me, asking me questions. I'm like, oh, good. Like, am I lying or something? I feel bad. Like, but I tell him like I have no reason to lie to the dude. But it's like he's not like a lovey, family-friendly guy. He's like sort of an intense dude. He's a very good doctor, but he's like an intense dude. So it's like, yeah. So it's like maybe there is a better way to get information out of people than being intense. Like really. And so it might work for him sometimes. I don't know if it works for him all the time, but like that's the thing. So, but he is a good doctor. So I kind of like him. He's kind of conservative too. He's like, I tell him stuff. He's like, hey, you're fine. I'm like, yeah. And like other times he's like, no, let's like look into that. But like sometimes I told him something. He's like, nah, that don't matter. I was like, hey, that's what I wanted to hear. It's like, I don't want to have to deal with any of this crap. So yeah, he yells at me. I have to go see other doctors. I haven't done that, but things to do. I'm going to go see some other doctors too. Getting old, So yeah, girlfriend experience. But like, again, maybe there's something to that. Okay. One instantiation of, I hate this word, familism, is that it may be familiar to Western doctors is when a patient asks a doctor, if the patient were your family member, which treatment would you choose? This question can be gratifying for doctors because it shows that patients trust their doctors. For patients and their families, asking this question to the doctor is also meant as a request to certify the doctor as the authority in the family member's care, to have the doctor take part in the moral burden of making difficult decisions, and to be more involved in the patient's care. However, Truog states that a doctor meeting such demands is risky. Quote, physicians are experts in medicine, but not in patients' values. Doctors should address this question carefully as it relates to the more general and controversial area of defining the boundary between doctor and patient. Truog warns about the potential for doctors to lose their objectivity. Again, is that really the worst thing in the world? Maybe you need a little bit of subjectivity to understand the patient's like state and then, custom tailor care to that thing. Yeah, that's the other thing, Unreal. Brian, please don't sue me. Yeah, you have to be very risk averse, and that pushes everyone onto the, like the numbers, whatever the numbers say, like doing the book standard thing. But that's, again, not always going to be the best of care. And that's the question here. What else can be done in terms of care? This is a virtue in some sense. Now, is a virtue a thing? Well, no, but you can still, we still have bedside manner. That's the question here. What is the proper way to deal with patients? Because this is a thing. When people are feeling sick and hurt, you need to have their trust. You need to talk to them. And I know we've rehearsed this a million times on this stream and others, but God forbid you're a black woman and you're going and talking to a doctor. It's historically bad how little they're listened to. Black women, their pain is not taken seriously when they go into a medical facility. And, medical outcomes are much worse because people are not believed due to, epistemic injustice and all this. So yeah, that level of care is not scalable. Well, sure. But again, that's also, that's capitalism. I mean, we should be having better care, regardless. And there are things that have been done to, it's not scaling personal attention, but a lot of things for instance, my parents both worked in healthcare, so I hear about this stuff, or I did. And like the noise in the hospital. Like if the hospital is like noisy and like you people can't sleep, their medical like outcomes are worse. And so it's like there's like wait times should be cut down. No, like excess noise can be cut down. So all of that stuff actually goes into like what patients feel has been good care. So like certain things are like noise levels, like that is scalable. You should be having quieter hospitals. Like you can do that. And so it's like little things do add up. So yeah, it's like, can you have like a patient like your family? Maybe not, but like also maybe you can. I don't know. It's like, yeah. Okay. Further criticisms of familism include an inherent tension and potential contradiction in the concept of treating patients in a way that is similar to treatment of family members. Within familism and within a Confucian norm of family relationships is the idea of special treatment of family members, giving them attention and care over and above the care provided to others. Yeah, this is the problem with the example above. She way overdid the special treatment of that one patient. In this approach, familism takes precedence over the interests of society as a whole, leading to a lack of attention to the public good. And this is what semiotics was bringing up too. If you like basically overdo it for a few people. However, this might contradict other ethical duties. For example, the need to distribute limited healthcare resources equitably, as well as to achieve the greatest good. Excessive shinmi raises problems from the perspective of equity. Furthermore, this approach to providing special shinmi patient care may ultimately be self-defeating. Treating every patient in the way that family members are treated would mean that family members and non-family patients no longer receive special care. Yeah, I guess, but like you want the highest level of care, and you know, you want to feel that you're getting the highest level of care. It's like, yeah, is this family member level? Well, if your family member is getting the similar stuff, that's as good as. It doesn't necessarily need to be special. It just needs to be, you know, as good as, like, as well taken care of as you want to feel. Okay. Unreal Brian, does talk of equity bring utilitarianism to a virtue fight? Well, that's exactly it. That's exactly what happened right here, Unreal. This is part of the problems with, you know, utilitarianism and consequentialism. This is like, well, look, you're trying to like be a healthcare for society, not for like individual people. This is not like only one or two people get the best care because we love them. It's like, this is for society. And so like the virtues, this is one of these things like, well, virtues don't all like can turn into vices if you overdo them. And it's like, this is why you have to get called out by the utilitarians. But like, that's the point, is that like, this is not a universal virtue. It has to be in moderation. I'm sure Aristotle would have said, but again, like, what does it actually amount to in practice? Okay. Emotional closeness. Another element of the meaning of Shinmi is the doctor's more emotional involvement with the patients. If Shinmi na doctors see their patients as family members, this can potentially trigger the same emotional reaction to the patient's situation that they feel towards their family members. For example, in ordinary circumstances, doctors would not necessarily be unduly affected by learning that their patient has been diagnosed with cancer. However, if they learn that their wife or parent has been similarly diagnosed, it is natural that they would be strongly affected psychologically. If the doctor has a Shinmi na relationship, the same response may be evoked. And I was just thinking, you know, a lot of people here are educators. Do you treat your, you know, students as like your kids? No, you need a distance there. But like, would it be good to be able to emotionally engage with them? Maybe sometimes. It's like, this can also be, you know, who is the patient here? Are they a student or are they a person who's sick? It's like, you know, this can generalize. Okay. Emotional engagement with patients in clinical practice has been discussed in the context of trust and communication with the patient. Medical professionals are often expected to communicate calmly, keep their emotions at bay, and reduce their emotional reactions. In particular, there have been numerous studies on empathy, positioned as necessary in healthcare for building trust with patients and facilitating healthcare. Empathy is sometimes divided into affective empathy, the subjective experience or sharing of another person's feelings, and cognitive empathy, quote, the ability to identify and understand the feelings and perspective of others from an objective standpoint, end quote. Affective empathy is said to be more likely to be felt towards those in close personal relationships and those similar to you. Shinmi Na doctors feel they have a psychologically closer relationship with their patient, akin to family members, and this may trigger affective empathy. However, Jody Halpern argues that affective empathy should be avoided in medicine. She contends that when doctors use affective empathy, their emotional reactions reduce the quality of cognitive understanding of patients, impede objectivity, weaken the ability to provide effective healthcare in difficult situations, and increase the risk of physician burnout. In particular, working with patients with affective empathy over a long period may prevent doctors from seeing the situation from the professional distance necessary to identify the best option for the patient, and they may try to provide all possible treatment. This characteristic of affective empathy also means that empathy is not provided according to the need of the patients. There are criticisms that effective empathy is partial and biased and is not offered fairly to all patients. You know, this is the thing. It's like, yeah, but people like it. And so people want to feel like your doctor likes you and is giving you the best stuff possible. Like you like it. And so I was like, maybe this isn't the best care, but like something else needs to be there in order for you to feel like this. It's like, do you have to like get this? It's like you need the both. It's like, this is what the future of medicine is going to be. You're going to have the doctor in the room like trying to be all emotional with you, and then you're going to have like the computer telling them like what the actual treatment should be. So it's like you're going to have to balance this stuff out, but I expect this is coming. Okay, so these are some of the problems. As Unreal O'Brien pointed out, this is the utilitarian criticism up here, and then this one is the what could you call this criticism here? This is the criticism from emotionality, criticism from subjectivity. What is this? I don't know. But like this is a criticism from subjectivity where the more subjective you get, the less you're going to be following standard medical advice. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, subjectivity or like perspective. I don't know. Interesting. Could come up with something. Okay, a virtue ethics approach to Shinmi. How should we assess Shinmi ethically? Shinmi is not an ethical principle, rule, or duty, rather appears to be a cluster of attitudes and behaviors. It is a potential characteristic of ethical doctors. Moreover, as already noted in the case and in the comments of patients, it may be over or underexpressed. In that sense, analyzing Shinmi through the lens of virtue ethics may be helpful. Yeah, because you can overdo everything. Virtue ethics is often distinguished in its emphasis on virtues or moral character in contrast to approaches that emphasize duties or rules, that's deontology, or consequences of actions, consequentialism. So these are Hursthouse and Pettigrove. Is this the SCP they quoted? Let's just go see. 2022, Hursthouse and Pettigrove. Yeah, Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Okay. Edmund Pellegrino has argued that the traditional professional medical norms were virtue-based, linking good physicians to specific character traits. Well, this is what I was saying. Bedside manner is a phrase. I don't know if everyone understands what I mean. Like, if you don't understand what I mean when I say bedside manner, but like that's a phrase that basically means how you interact with your doctor. And like if you have a good bedside manner, then you have a good working relationship with them. You can talk to them. If they have a bad bedside manner, then it's like you don't you do not enjoy interacting with them in some sense. Okay. Citing Aristotle's moral virtue, which on Aristotle's account were to be pursued neither excessively nor insufficiently, he defined an excellent virtuous physician as one who most effectively achieves the goals of medicine and exhibits traits essential to achieving those goals. Pellegrino's influential account included 6 specific virtues of doctors: fidelity to trust, honesty, compassion, effacement of self-interest, courage, and justice. No indication of familism, an element of Shinmi, is listed here, but emotional involvement is mentioned in the form of compassion, which refers to the need to enter the patient's predicament and feel their suffering, akin to cognitive empathy. While Pellegrino's virtues are grounded in Western culture, there are also physician virtues that have been described in Eastern culture. Some of these include similar elements to Shinmi. According to Daniel Tsai and colleagues, ancient Chinese medicine ethics were derived from Confucian virtue ethics. The central theme of this is Ren, with family values and filial piety, particularly being the root of benevolence. As evidence of the influence of this, it has been suggested that the book Bushido, written by Inazu Nitobi, which describes the way of the samurai and has its origins in Buddhism, Confucianism, and Shintoism, has influenced professionalism in Japanese medicine. Bushido is similar to chivalry or noblesse. I don't know what this word, noblesse oblige, in the West. In Bushido, 7 virtues are advocated: rectitude, courage, benevolence, politeness, honesty, honor, loyalty, and loyalty. Of these, Jin and Chugi, so that would be benevolence and loyalty, are similar concepts of Shinmi. Benevolence, which means love and compassion towards others, is an attitude of emotional involvement and empathy towards others. According to a survey of Japanese physicians, many stated that Jin is an integral part of medicine. Furthermore, Chugi, loyalty, prioritizes loyalty to the needs and interests of the group, such as family, in contrast to Western individualism. Unreal says, noblesse oblige is kind of the duty of the nobles have to commoners in return for their status and privileges. Okay, so this is a duty-based thing where it's interesting. Yeah. Valpa says noblesse is a medieval lords being generous to the folks because they're noble, stuff like that. Okay, that's interesting. So, but there is a relationship there where you're like a one versus many. So it's kind of like a doctor versus their patients, where they're like the person in power at this kind of case. So they have to off-brand Aristotelian magnanimity. Okay, there we go. See, this is one of these things. People are not that clever. We are all pretty similar in some sense, but like the way we slice the pie up can be different, but we're still people. And so you put emphasis on different things. And I think it's kind of hilarious. In the US, we have this new Speaker of the House, and he's gotten himself into some wacky stuff in the past. But basically, they were doing a humor theory where you've got like different liquids in the body, and they were trying to treat people with like these old humor theories. But like this is the same thing. These like different virtues, they're all going to cover different human emotions more or less. Some more, some less. And it's like they're going to cover the different ways we're going to do it. So it's like the emphasis in the East is looking like they've emphasized certain things differently in the West. Of course, we can describe them as like chat has been doing. But it's just like it seems like this is how we've been doing things for a long time. It's like you've got different levels of these sort of, whatever you want to call them, virtues, humors, substances, concepts, whatever. But it's like this is just how we go about doing stuff. And the idea that we are getting away from that, I find one of the conceits of modern thought, that we think we're way better than they were in the past. This is the stuff we're doing now, I feel like, is just going to be looked at as humor theory. We look at as humor theory now. And so it's like you shouldn't crap on the humor theory, and you shouldn't crap on Bushido or any of these other old theories, because it was capturing something of the human experience. Okay. Yeah, so there's something of the interest in the group, such as a family, in contrast to Western individualism. Of course, we overdo that here in the U.S. with the individualism. Okay. In analyzing Shinmi through the lens of virtue ethics, we could find similarities between elements of the physician virtue and Shinmi. On the other hand, in the previous section, we described that elements of Shinmi potentially contrast or conflict with the traditional medical ideals in the West. However, the importance of familism and emotional involvement has recently been recognized or reassessed in Western cultures. The first element, familism, appears particularly desirable in cultures with a Confucian regard for the importance of family. However, many patients, even outside Japan, regard being treated like family by healthcare professionals as something that medical care should aspire to. Perhaps people believe that a doctor's family member receives better care than a doctor's non-family member. In the UK, the Friends and Family test is used to assess healthcare quality, asking people, including those who work in the National Health Service, whether they would be willing to recommend a healthcare provider to a family member or friend if they were in the same position. It suggests that the level of healthcare that would be sufficient to refer to one's loved ones may be considered the minimum required. So this is interesting. They're saying, would you refer your mom to this doctor? And if you would, that actually is sort of a proxy measure for this like family values thing here. The second element, effective closeness, has also been reevaluated. Although, as noted, analysis of doctors' empathy has previously suggested that doctors should avoid effective empathy, Michalik et al. Expressed concern that focusing too much on cognitive empathy to the exclusion of emotional empathy ultimately might have a negative impact on patient care. Unreal says, when I was dating living with a physician, I definitely got moved to the front line with her colleagues. What does that mean? Oh, you got moved to the front of the line with her colleagues. Yeah, you got bumped up. A little preferential treatment. Happens, of course. Yeah. Valpy says, the term noblesse oblige turns up super late 19th century, but probably referring back to medieval ideas. Yeah. Maybe it was sort of like an apologetics term that they were saying, oh, no, the lords had obligation to their peasants when back in the day, they were just shitheads. Maybe, like, did the lords really actually have obligation, or is this whitewashing? Like our history washing of like their crappy behavior. That's interesting though. I mean, this is the thing, you see this also in, like, I've heard this about the Japanese and stuff. Like there was a, like, movies like, making the Japanese samurai look like great, like, leaders and lords and stuff, when chances are it was just the same bullshit, like rich people, abusing the workers underneath. It's like, well, why you valorize the samurai and the old attitudes? It's like, who knows? It's like apologetics for old bad behavior. Okay. Yeah, so even people are starting to question whether we should be completely detached. 19th century starts to get really nationalistic, so maybe that's a factor. Exactly, but cool swords. No, I mean, that's the thing. Were they really noble? Were they really following Bushido? Like, were they actually this way? Or were they, the same shitheads we all were, and they, paid lip service to Bushido, and now we look back on it like, oh, the good old times when people had virtue. It's like, no, shithead. People were people back then, too. But we need Shane to actually adjudicate this sort of problem, so I don't know. But I do know people. People will make up excuses. That I do know. Yeah. So this is the thing. Is it really, should we have no emotional engagement with your doctors? Is it better to go, to a computer, just like an ATM machine, stick your arm in, have it run tests on you, and then, like, output a result? I don't know if that's good. Probably isn't. So I bet people are starting to realize that. Such an approach may lead to overemphasis on clinical knowledge, clinical detachment, and scientific rationality. Wong et al., in a study of exploration of oncologists' professional emotional experiences, found that some professionals reported engaging more emotionally with their patients to meet their affective needs and perceive it as an essential strength of being a doctor. In this research, doctors attempted to strike an appropriate balance between keeping themselves as objective and competent doctors and engaging more emotionally with their patients. From our analysis of Shinmi through the virtue ethics lens, we argue that Shinmi can potentially include desirable character traits if doctors properly pursue Shinmi. What should doctors look for to achieve the golden mean of the Shinmi in healthcare? Unreal says, in my own experience, there's a friendly but professional relationship character that works well. That's the thing, but where exactly? Where's the line, and how to draw that? What were I was reading? I don't know if it was on Roulette or someplace else. I think it was Roulette, where we were talking about emergency dispatchers, and that they were using AI to, I think it was maybe one of those AI in Society papers where they were using AI to say, should an ambulance be sent out immediately, or what sort of like care needs to be sent out right now. And the AI would get the right answer faster and better than the AI dispatcher. So the artificial intelligence could hear whatever was going on in like the person's voice or whatever else, and would be more accurate in sending out the proper sort of like, do we need an ambulance right now, before the person could do it. So in some sense, you need both nowadays. You need like the technical, just like, black box solution saying, no, this person needs medical attention this minute, versus the person who understands the problem. That's the thing. People lie, though. They may say they need something. Like, there's all this discussion nowadays of like people saying, oh, I need this kind of like opiate because, they're addicted to opiates. And it's like you have to have someone who knows that they're lying to you. If you just plug them into a system and they check off all the boxes because they know how to game the system, then believe me, the drug addicts will learn how to game the system, and then they will. But the AI will never notice because it gives the right answer all the time, or the white answer. Yeah, and like, yeah, as if the AI is like, giving the right answers. And I brought this up before. God forbid you're a black woman and you're trying to get the proper level of medical care. Like, that's the numbers. You're probably not going to get the same quality of medical care. And oh my God forbid you're getting your face run through facial recognition technology. It was trained on white people and just does not handle black faces very well and will just like spit out crappy results. And so it's like the white answer in some sense is not going to be very helpful for black people quite often. So it's like, yeah, we've got problems. But that's the thing. Having a good doctor that actually you can talk to then may cancel out some of these, rough edges that we have in care. Maybe not, I don't know, but like, this is the question. If they treat you better, maybe you'll talk to them more, they understand more of your concerns. That's the thing. Personally, I have a no whining policy. Like, no whining. Just don't do it. I was sick at one point and my doctor was like, all the other patients, like, they complain about stuff. Like, you don't complain. He brought this up to me. And I was like, I have a no whining policy. He goes, what? I say, no whining. He goes, what do you mean no whining? I said, there's no fucking whining. I don't whine. And he goes, that's weird. I forgot about that. That was his reaction. He goes, that's weird. It's okay, but it's weird. At the time, I was more stoic. But I still don't like whining. I don't see what the point is. It is problematic. Oh, it could be problematic. I wouldn't tell them. I wasn't like I had a problem telling them what my symptoms were, but like it was like he was just like, why don't you complain? I'm like, what's the point in complaining? You don't whine. Oh, I'm a curmudgeon. I'm a terrible curmudgeon. I think everything is terrible. I don't complain about it though. I mean, I could go on constantly if I was going to complain. Yeah. Because whining is part of language. Well, I use my language in other ways, but let's see. If you say the pain is 9 out of 10, but you aren't adequately performing the pain, you don't get taken seriously. I've got some fun stories about having to do that. Like, I've said other things. I said, look, I have 3 pain settings: normal pain, unnormal pain, and death. And any given point, that's normal pain. Unnormal pain means I have to go, like, you get medical attention. And death. I've been death is, like, as far as I'm concerned, I've gone into ERs and said, look, I've got pain, normal pain, and death. As far as you're concerned, I'm at 11 right now because I'm approaching death. So I was like, I've had to do that before. So I was like, yeah, they take you seriously when you say things like that, though. O'Neill says, just like they give me shots and I'm completely unaffected and don't flinch or react. 50 years, type 1 diabetic gets you used to needles. Yeah. Complaints have limited utility. Yeah. So it's like, this is the thing. But you still have to be able to talk to your doctors. Like, I'm not complaining as a way to communicate things. I don't whine. It's like, I don't complain about stuff. I will tell you what my symptoms are, but like, there's no point in being like, and it's really annoying. It's like, no shit. Of course it's really annoying. But like, yeah. So this is the thing. So, but again, the doctors need to know the information. If the doctors don't know the information, then they're going to be, deficient in like what their input is to give you the output. Same with computers. If you give the computer like limited information, garbage in, garbage out. That's how computers work. There is no getting around that. And so the idea that AI is going to overcome that, that's not true, and it will be gamed. Like, it will be. So it's like there is like some space here, and that I think is the point of this paper, is that like, what is a good area that we could work on in some sense in having a relationship in this sort of like in this space between the people and the doctors, patients and the doctors. Yeah, the golden mean of Shinmi in healthcare. Like, who knows what that is, but we can have this discussion. So yeah. Forgot he called me weird after I said no complaining, no whining. Okay. The risk common to the two elements of Shinmi are loss of professional objectivity due to the blurring of professional boundaries with the patient and lack of equity as a public servant. Additionally, effective closeness can undermine the mental well-being of the doctor. You know, Aris, there is something, of course, there's overlap between the cynics and the stoics. Like, the cynics, of course, they're like, well, why is... See, from my perspective, I don't want to be a whiner as part of my character. As a stoic, you're just supposed to grin and bear it because you're stoic. I have a better reason. Like, I think it's like whining isn't a good trait for a person. Frankly, I don't want to hear whining. I don't like it. Like, it just, like, I'm like, what are you doing? Now, of course, the greasy wheel gets the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Like, if you want to actually get stuff done, sometimes you do have to complain over and over again. I'd rather that be strategic than just be a character trait, though. So it's like, there's definitely things to be said in this area. Okay. Firstly, to keep professional objectivity, as it has been suggested that self-reflection is necessary in terms of an awareness of the boundaries between doctor and patient for ethically sound clinical practice to take place. Yeah, sure. You have to have some objectivity. Wong and Frum suggest two reflective questions. Am I being professional? Am I acting professionally? Are essential questions to ask doctors themselves when performing emotional labor. These questions are also important to maintain professional justice and proper emotional distance with the patient. Frank says, but if you only do it when you strategically decide to, you are doing it too rarely. Society is balanced around you whining more often. And maybe that's why I'm fucking broke. Like, I should, you know... Society is not geared to me. I know this. Like, it never felt that it was. So, like, it's fair. It's like, yeah, society is geared to other people. That's okay. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm not going to change because whiners are doing better. It's like, that's fine. I'll find some other way. I don't want to be a whiny person, though. Like, I don't give a shit if, like, things sometimes go better for whiners. I feel bad for them. I think it's crappy that you have to go around whining all day. Like, I don't give a fuck. Aristotle's, I knew a guy who, whenever discussing prom, he'd explain, I have an idea, and we'd all look at him and he'd say, let's bitch and moan about it. That's funny, actually. But, like, was he doing it to, like, A, poke fun at the people who bitch and moan about it? Or did he really mean it as, like, a cathartic thing? Like, I don't know. But, like, yeah, it's like, what's he, like, what was his point, though? I was like, you want to bitch and moan about it? I was like, yeah, maybe you want to get it all out. Like, that isn't the worst thing, but, like, yeah. He was poking fun. It was funny. Yeah, like, so, like, that's clever a little bit. It's like, why don't we whine about this more? Like, what does that do? Like, what's the payoff here? So, I mean, you could say this is consequentialist, too. Like, what's the real payoff of being whiny? And, like, there's not... But see, this is one of my problems with deontology. You're not going to be able to discuss this sort of problem in deontology. Where's there going to be a giant rule never to whine? Of course, maybe whining is there. It's like, if everyone stopped whining, I don't know how the world would be. But, like, this is the sort of thing I think is better on virtue ethics and maybe on utilitarianism. Is like this everyday sort of thing. Like, I have a policy, no whining. It's like, it's just... I've had it forever at this point. So it's like, how do you talk about this everyday stuff? Like, and this is one of my problems with deontology. It's like too heady. It's like these two big picture things. I mean, would this be super erogation not to whine? Like, really? Is it over and above to keep your mouth shut? Maybe. I don't know. All right, let's finish this up. Okay. Secondly, for balanced emotional involvement, sharing emotional experiences with colleagues, friends, and family may support doctors to reflect on their feelings. Karasidou et al. Also suggested that it is not enough to support the individual for the doctor to pursue the virtue appropriately, but it is also essential to create a supportive work environment that does not hinder the expression of the virtue. They mentioned that doctors could learn and acquire virtuous characters, but virtuous development is hindered if there is no place or opportunity to practice virtue. Yeah, and so this is one of the things Synesthesiotics brought up. Can this scale? You're asking more of the doctors if you are asking them to also be emotionally involved with their patients. Can they just, take what the symptoms are and output the right treatment? Maybe. But if you're asking them to also look after the patient's mental well-being, then they're like psychologists, they're therapists and all this other stuff. So they need more support. And that's the thing. It's like you can get burnt out if you're overdoing it. So this is the question. Like, maybe this is a higher level of care, but then the people providing the care need a higher level of support as well. Okay, conclusions. In this paper, we've introduced and analyzed the concept shinmi that is used both by the public and professionals to capture an ideal of medical practice in Japan. Through our case examples and analysis, we have drawn out two distinctive elements of shinmi: familism and emotional closeness. These elements are somewhat in contrast to and in perhaps conflict with Western medical ideals of impartiality and objectivity. Nevertheless, we've argued that if adopted to the right degree, shinmi does appear to capture important and desirable character traits that are conducive to the goals of medicine. Elaborating and clarifying the concept of a virtue of shinmi may be useful for medical education. Pellegrino refers to Aristotle. Quote, "We learn by practice, and that the best practice is to follow a model of the virtuous person. In medicine, this means we need virtuous physicians as teachers." End quote. Medical students in Japan should be taught as one of us was to treat their patients as if they were their own family. Learning shinmi may be particularly important to meeting the special emotional needs of patients influenced by Confucian values who seek out health professionals in a familial relationship. Yeah, this is a thing. Like, if you're talking to someone in this culture, they may be much more ready to talk to you if you understand their values. And so it's like, it may just be more like in that culture that this is important. But that doesn't mean it's not important in the West too. But like over there, they may not talk to you if they think like, you're don't understand them. Okay. However, professionals also need to appreciate the importance of balancing this against objectivity and the patient's own well-being, equity and the well-being of other patients, and prudence, taking care of their own physical and mental health. We have drawn on our personal and professional experience, but future empirical work would be valuable to explore how shinmi is currently conceptualized and implemented in Japan. It would be interesting and valuable to investigate what specific attitudes make patients in Japan or elsewhere feel cared for like family. It would be illuminating to see whether there are parallel virtues in other countries influenced by Confucianism. We have suggested that this concept may have wider relevance. However, there is a need for further analysis to explore whether and how the concept of shinmi could contribute to improving the patient-physician relationship in the West. And says a lot of indigenous communities in South America don't like the white researchers because they know they are being used for the researchers' benefit and they are not understood. Yes. So like again, like this is the thing. We in the West, like in the United States, minorities have been treated like crap, and I guess indigenous communities in South America they feel like they're being used, and they are being used for other people's academic or whatever advancement, and so it's like. They may not be willing to tell all the things that they know or like let people into like their society in the right way. And so the things that are being told are going to be skewed. And so that's the thing. Okay, so let's give a little review. Everyone, well, on the Twitch side, if you're over on YouTube, we got a message here. Sorry if I missed it. Oh no, someone just being fucking whatever. Anyway, if you're in chat or in the Twitch chat, please grab one of the emotes. We have this is the emote review. If it was a fun article and with fun ideas, brain dance. If it made big claims that shriveled up, then the grapes. Nasal gazing. Was this only for academics or was this for a wider public? Or Ouroboros, did this deal with deep ancient ideas? Scream for the existential or artistic drama. Turd for all style no substance, and knife for slicing and dicing arguments. Unreal says that definitely happens with native communities and linguistics research too. So this is the thing. I think this is a nice paper because it discusses something that is at the edge of like Western science. Western science is looking for the objectivity, but this is a problem. You get the objectivity you're using is not going to engage with people who are not trying to be objective here. So Unreal Brian says, yay, nay, but it was a fun paper. So Unreal Brian did not like this, but did think it was kind of fun. Thank you for your review. What am I going to say about this? I don't know. I mean, this is not attempting to do any great thing. This was basically describing one thing and saying what it was. Yeah, Janae, you feel mean because it wasn't bad. You can be a humbug. That's fine. This is philosophy. You're entitled to your old grumpy man opinions. You're with me? Yeah. So you can give it a yay and an A. So that would give it one of each. So that's, I don't have a very meh version here, but, I feel like chat hates these papers ever. Usually because this is like putting something out there, but it's not particularly deep, you know? Yeah, get off my name. Nog yay. It's the yay is global. It's vote yay. So you have to put vote yay. What is it? It's Twitch global, and so if you want to do it, you can. But yeah, thank you, Frank. Are yay and nay counted up that way? Yeah, they are. Everything's counted. So it's how many of each individual emote you use. So yeah, it's vote yay. Thank you, Unreal. If you want to do that without the spaces, of course. So yeah, Frank thinks so. And if you actually do something like, I'm gonna say vote yay. I think, vote yay, and then if you put a comment here, it actually saves the comment next to your thing. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the comments, but yeah. But I mean, you have an overall count of the two which relate to one another. Yeah, I'm gonna put that in. So like that's kind of the goal here, is to have a both a like just the reviews people have, but then also have counting up the emotes that get used. So if you do like a bunch of vote nays, that will matter more than just one vote nay. Like in some sense, like I'm gonna have ways to search, like okay, things that were voted nay on, and then things that were voted yay on, but then you're gonna be sorting them by, you know, counts. So that's the thing. Yeah, one of each is probably right, but I shouldn't have done both in the same comment. It doesn't matter if it's in the same comment. All of that will get, the comment actually gets aggregated. So yeah. But yeah, this is, I don't know if this is any big ideas or anything on this paper. So in some sense, it's like, it's just not that, I don't know if like, it's like an interesting idea. They put together a little paper. This is just in like the, whatever corner. It says like, this is just their discussion corner. So it's like perspective corner here. To balance it out, you'll give it a second one of those. That's fine. So it's like, this is the thing. No rating system is perfect. I took a long time to come up with this one. I thank you all for rating, but, yeah, it's like, I don't know if I have anything else to say. It is an interesting idea. I don't think this was like a whole lot of fun ideas in this, but it's like one interesting idea that they're pointing out. And it would have been nice if they like, you know, had some compare and contrast with like other of these ideas. Like I said, bedside manner is a phrase. I don't know if maybe these people know it. Like, where is this? So I take Ozeki Hayashi is Japanese, I assume. And okay, Dominic J.C. Wilson is out of philosophy in Oxford. So university, so they're for Center for Practical Ethics, philosophy, Faculty of Philosophy, University of Oxford. Oxford doesn't mean they're you know, British, but like maybe they're German or something. Who knows? But that's the thing. So it's like, but like this is the question: what is the correct bedside manner? It's like this is a thing. Unreal says medical ethics is big shizzle right now, and this does bring a little something new to the table. That's the thing. This isn't really doing anything much, but it's like doing something. So yeah, I don't know. So like I don't have a problem with this. Like, you know, we have the grapes or the golden turd. For golden turd is for like, you know, fancy shit that doesn't really do anything. The grapes is for like, you know, they make big claims and it fails. This didn't make any big claims. It made a small claim and it backed it up. And that's fine. So it's like, it's okay. But yeah, so thank you all for rating. I'll leave it up for another minute if anyone else wants to jump in or, you know, try to even out their votes. Yeah. Not so bad, though. It was okay. Like, again, it's a ratio. Size of claim to how well they pull it off. That's a lot of the stuff is, what are you willing to like sacrifice? How big of a bullet are you willing to bite? If you want to make a big claim in philosophy, you have to be willing to make very fancy arguments or like make very strong claims. It's just hard. I think I've heard Anne talk about this before too. Like, what are you trying to do? You can't overdo it. Like, in some sense, you have to like, you can't do all the things all the time all at once. You have to, in some sense, you can do certain things sometimes, and then you have to keep everything else sort of stable, and that's the basis that you can like push one area. You can't push all areas at once. These people, you know, pushed one little area a little bit. So that's the thing. Okay. I don't know if I can read another paper now, but because it's over 2 hours and my voice will die on me. So let's maybe we'll get out of here, I guess. Can get out of here. Unless anyone has any questions or concerns. My hair's kind of floofy right now. But like, yeah, let's go see who's available to go raid. Thank you all for being here in the comments. It was a little bit of fun. You know, this is one of the things. Oh, here's one of the things I did want to point out. I forgot about this. Demand for AI and philosophy hires and expertise and its precedents. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of AI and philosophy coming out right now because this is what people want. This is this is what Globus streams on, philosophy and how we understand it and this sort of thing. Well, oh, the guy, one of the other things I was saying on one of the philosophers on the what's it called, the philosophy booth on Friday. This is one of his areas. He's been doing this for years. I wonder if he's gonna get a job offer. Because he is he does AI, I think he was doing like robot ethics for the last 10 years or whatever, or like computer ethics. And I wonder if he's actually going to get like a job offer from, because he's not got a bad position. But he's not got a fancy position either. So I just wonder if he's going to get a thing, and like he'll be able to get a better job nowadays, because there's AI and philosophy, and like these seems like there's going to be more jobs in this area. AI hiring craze in philosophy over the last few years has any precedence in the discipline. So this is the thing. It's like, is it worth anything? 54 comments. Oh, wow. Okay. So people are saying it has gone. Yeah. So, okay. Who knows? Let's see who's available. Who is live? But it's a thing. I just wonder, how do you get paid for philosophy? It's like this how you do it. Is Prof up? I don't know if Prof is streaming tonight. Who else is streaming? Kimmery is still streaming. Tiger Rider. Yeah, there's no one I need to raid right now. Okay, let's go look for some philosophy. Let's see if anyone is in the area live with the philosophy tag. No. Me. And someone, I don't know what this person is. Oh, we rated them before. They were not good. Aris rated them before. Who's this? Why do we suffer? This looks like a religious God gang. Pastor sends and why do we suffer? I don't know about that. Okay. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, let's get this off. Yeah, so this is the usual crew of like not really good, either not good philosophers and like I don't need to go into a religious stream. Like that's not going to be interesting to me. I just clicked on my own stream. Okay, screw it then. Who are we gonna raid? Raid out to somebody. Let's go raid Kimmery Sky because she does music, and we'll raid Kimmery. Kimmery is my favorite music streamer. She is does not need my raid. She has 288 people in chat right now. She is really good at what she does. She can literally, it's like people like me a little bit. She's willing to do like live learns, not today, but she does like live learns where you just tell her a song and she'll figure it out and like play it right there. So that's cool. Yeah, and she's doing Billie Eilish right now. Who knows? So it's just music. Stick around, be nice. If not, head off. I don't care. But have a great night. Thank you everyone for being here. Chill, try to relax, treat yourself nice. I got myself some I spent too much money on takeout. I don't care. It was great today. And try to do something nice and feel good. So I will see you on the other side. Bye.